All right, let's just jump right into it. If you're a developer trying to get work done in 2026, you know the AI coding scene is, well, it's a mess. It's totally crowded. So today, we're going to cut through all of that noise and give you the ultimate guide to the tools that actually matter. Let's do this.
Look, we've all been there, right? You're staring at this wall of options, dozens of models, all these new agents, IDEs, and they're all screaming, "I'm the best!" It's total choice paralysis. So how do you figure out which tool is actually the right one for your job? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the deep thinkers for the really tough logic. Then we'll check out the artists for beautiful UI. After that, we'll get into workflows, because that's where the magic really happens. We'll also hit the big ones, cost and privacy. And by the end, you'll know exactly how to build your own personal AI toolkit.
All right, let's dive right in. First up, the heavyweights, the deep thinkers. These are the models you call on when you're wrestling with some gnarly architectural problem, a super complex algorithm, or, that one impossible bug that's got the whole team scratching their heads. So, what are we even talking about when we say deep thinking? I mean, it's not just about spitting out code faster. No. These models use some really cool techniques, like chain of thought, which basically means they think before they act. They'll reason through a problem step by step, just like you might, before they even write a single line. And that makes them absolute beasts for anything that needs real, honest-to-goodness logic.
And this right here is why the one-tool-fits-all idea is dead. It's all about specialists now. I mean, think of it like a toolbox, right? You wouldn't use a sledgehammer to fix a watch. If you're up against some heavy-duty math or a coding competition, yeah, you're going to grab OpenAI's O3. But if you're trying to refactor a huge, messy, real-world code base, you're definitely going to want Claude 4.5 for that job.
Okay, so let's run through the A-team. You've got OpenAI's O3, still the undisputed champ for pure, raw, puzzle-solving logic. But hot on its heels is DeepSeek R1, which is a total game-changer because it's open source and performs almost just as well. Then there's Kimi K2, a 1 trillion parameter monster built for those huge, long-running agent tasks. And of course, Claude 4.5, which is just amazing at making sense of messy, real-world code that, actual humans wrote. Okay, we've covered the logicians. Now let's totally switch gears and talk about the artists. These are the models that have, for lack of a better word, taste. They have an eye for design and all those little visual details. And the magic behind this is what we call multimodal intelligence. It's a fancy term, but it just means these AIs can see, like for real. You can show them a Figma design, a screenshot, maybe even a video snippet, and they'll just look at it and turn that visual into clean, good-looking, accessible code. It's kind of wild. And if we're talking about taste, there is one name that just keeps coming up: Claude, specifically the Sonnet models. They are just widely seen as the best in the business for front-end fidelity. They don't just get the boxes in the right place, they get the feel right, the spacing, the typography, all the subtle stuff that makes a UI feel polished and professional. This points to a huge shift in how we work. Honestly, for most UI stuff these days, you're not even talking directly to the LLM anymore. Instead, you're using one of these dedicated platforms that has a powerful model under the hood. For production-grade Next.js stuff, everyone's using V0 by Vercel. If design and aesthetics are your #1 priority, you're probably unlovable. And if you just need to spin up a prototype like right now, Bolt.new is your go-to.
Whoa, okay, we are moving fast here. Let's just take a quick breath. We've talked about the thinkers and the artists. If any of this is sparking questions, or if you're using something cool that we haven't mentioned, seriously, drop a comment down below. We'd love to see what you guys are thinking.
All right, let's get into what I think is maybe the most important part of this whole conversation. Because we've looked at the models, sure, but the real game changer, it's the workflows. It's all about how these tools are integrated into the places we actually do our work. And this is the key. You can have the smartest AI model on the planet, but if the workflow sucks, the tool is useless. It's all about the integration. How does it plug into your IDE? How well does it understand the context of your entire project? That's the difference between a cool little toy and something that actually makes you a better developer.
So let's talk about starting fresh on a new project, what we call a greenfield project. Here, it's all about speed and getting something high quality up and running fast, and these tools are absolute masters at that. You need a React UI? V0 will build it. A whole full-stack app? Bolt.new has you covered. These things are designed to take you from a blank screen to a working prototype faster than you can believe.
But let's be real, most of us don't live in greenfield paradise.
We work on massive, existing, sometimes messy code bases, and that's a whole different ballgame. For these brownfield jobs, you need tools that are codebase aware. That means something like Cursor, the AI-first IDE that can actually understand your entire repo. Or if you're in a huge enterprise monorepo, you're looking at SourceGraph Cody. And for getting really deep into the weeds from the command line, you've got powerful agents like Claude Code.
So let's compare two of the giants in the terminal space, Claude Code and Aider. They have totally different personalities. Think of Claude Code as the thoughtful, autonomous expert. You give it a big, complex task and let it go away and think. It's slower but deliberate. Aider, on the other hand, is like your super-fast pair programmer. It works with you interactively, streaming changes as you go. Plus, it's model agnostic, so you can plug in whatever LLM you want. Okay, time to talk about the stuff that isn't as flashy, but is absolutely critical: money and privacy. Because let's face it, all the cool tech in the world doesn't matter if you can't afford it or if it compromises your code.
And let's just start with a number that might make your eyes water a little bit. $60 plus. That's what you could be paying for just 1 million tokens with those top-of-the-line deep reasoning models. Now, if you're working on a big project, that adds up incredibly fast.
This table really tells the whole story, doesn't it? I mean, look at this range. Down at the bottom, you've got open source models that are practically free. We're talking cents per million tokens. Then way up at the top, you have those $60 plus premium models. And then there's the middle ground, where most of us live, the standard APIs and the $20 or $30 a month consumer subscriptions. The whole game is figuring out when you need to splurge for the premium stuff and when you can get away with the budget option.
So how do you actually manage all this? Okay, a few key takeaways. First, if you want the best bang for your buck on deep thinking, DeepSeek R1 is a no-brainer. It's almost as good as the top dogs for a tenth of the price. Second, remember that for a lot of us, the cost is kind of hidden inside our IDE subscription, like that $20 a month for Cursor. And finally, if privacy is non-negotiable, if you can't have your code leaving your machine, then self-hosting with something like a Llama is the only way to go. You get 0 per token costs and total security.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. We've gone through the models, the workflows, the costs, everything. Now it's time to talk about building your perfect AI coding toolkit. And if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. The hunt for a single best AI tool is over. It doesn't exist. It's a myth. The smart developer in 2026 doesn't have one favorite tool. They have a whole portfolio. They've got a toolkit, and they know exactly which specialist to pull out for which job.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Look at the work you do every single day, the kinds of projects you build, the kinds of problems you solve. What's in your 2026 AI coding toolkit? What does that ideal setup look like for you?
Hey, if this guide helped clear some things up for you and gave you a better map of the AI coding world, do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss out on our next deep dive. Thanks so much for tuning in.